The great statue of the great Tony Gwynn just outside Petco Park. It's game 3 of a 3-game series between the Washington Nationals and the San Diego Padres. Now, some 19s around the ballpark. We'll be seeing a lot of them tonight as we welcome you inside Petco Park on a very special night. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo along with Mark Grant. Welcome to Padres Baseball. This would have been birthday number 58 for the great Tony Gwynn tonight, and Mud, certainly a very special night. We will spend the night looking back at his great career and his life and his legacy, for that matter. Mud, an incredible night tonight.
It's just, it's sad because it's good and it's bad. And you saw his brother Chris talking about people still talking about him today all over social media, people wishing the great Tony Gwynn a happy birthday. He was a class guy, he was a gentleman, he was a friend to all. If you asked him for his autograph, he was accommodating, you shook his hand. Tony was a guy who gave you the time of day to wonder how you were doing, and that's just the type of gentleman gone too soon, and he is dearly missed here at the ballpark for sure.
Looking back when you were teammates with him, what is your favorite Tony Gwynn moment?
Sunday, October 1st, 1989. He and Will Clark were neck and neck on the batting title race going into that weekend series. Tony trailed by a single percentage point. He was hitting .332. After the Friday and Saturday game, Sunday it came down to Will Clark going 1 for 4. Tony Gwynn went 3 for 4. When it was done, Will Clark .333, Tony Gwynn .336. The way he swung the bat, he was the type of guy to where he looked at pressure and just kind of laughed in its face because he was so confident of his ability putting the ball in play, and it was evident that weekend. I never saw a guy master his craft more than Tony Gwynn did that weekend to walk away with the batting title.
We're going to see a lot of those special moments tonight. It's going to be a great deal of fun, and certainly fun to honor this great gentleman. We will reflect on his life and his career. Bob Scanlon checks in with another former teammate, Coach Doug Bachler, when we return to Petco Park after this.
A good fastball to hit, and I hit it in the left center, and when I hit it, I thought the center fielder was going to catch it because he had a good jump, and he dove and just missed it and rolled to the wall, and I standing at second, and then Pete Rose comes up to me and shakes my hand and says, "You're trying to catch me after one night," you know, and the whole atmosphere of that was really nice.
The incomparable Tony Gwynn reflecting on his first hit in the big leagues, and although he did come up a little bit short of Pete Rose's all-time hits record, he got a lot closer than Rose could have anticipated, but Pete had no way of knowing about the talent, work ethic, and ingenuity that resided in the future Mr. Padre, but all three of those characteristics are on display in this story by Tony's former teammate and now Padres bullpen coach, Doug Bockler.
Back then we had the old high 8, like basically cassettes kinda, and he stopped me on the plane, and I said, he goes, "Hey Bach, you wanna see something?" I said, "Sure." And he goes, "You see that?" And it was a picture of like Steve Traxler, who we were facing the next day, and he had his fingers up on his changeup. He said, "I'm gonna see that tomorrow, and I'm not gonna miss it." And I was like, wow, this is kind of like next level. You could even see that, number one, but you were putting in the work before that. So one of my favorite memories of Tony.
Doug Bockler talking about Tony Gwynn, and obviously that talent, that work ethic led to a .338 batting average over a 20-year career, 8 batting titles, and the ingenuity, well, it changed baseball forever and how players would train for their craft. Happy birthday, Tony. Thanks so much for your gift of your memory, which we get to enjoy forever. Coming up next, the lefties will square off. Joey Lucchese going up against Gio Gonzalez. Padres will try to salvage the final game of the set. Padres Nationals coming up next, right here on Fox Sports San Diego.
I'm a big believer in whatever you want. If you want something out of this game, you got to put the work in. You got to work hard. My father said, if you work hard, good things will happen. And boy, oh boy, he was absolutely right. I worked hard in the game because I had to. I really had to work at it. I had to do the video stuff. I had to extra hit. I had to kind of go about my business and do things the way I did.
Line drive, center field, there it is, number 3,000 for Tony Gwynn.
If you want something, if you want to compete and you want to be successful, that you got to get out there and you got to try it. You're never going to find out sitting at home.
I played this game for 20 years and I've had a blast. It's truly amazing to me. And all I can say is thank you so much.
Great to hear his voice. And tonight would have been his 58th birthday. His statue remains out there, and a great tribute to him, as well as so many fans go to visit it on a daily basis here in San Diego. We will be celebrating the life all night of Tony Gwynn on what would have been his 58th birthday. Now we check out the weather tonight, brought to you by your always sunny Honda dealers of San Diego County. Beautiful night tonight, 68 degrees, northwest breeze at 8 miles per hour. Forecast partly cloudy, but as we start this game, not a cloud in the sky. Don Orsillo, Mark Grant, and Bob Scanlon with you tonight from Petco Park in San Diego. The finale of the 3-game series against the Washington Nationals before the St. Louis Cardinals arrive as we check out the Nationals starting 9. Michael A. Taylor at the top of the order. He's been batting 9th, but leading off in tonight's game with Trey Turner at shortstop, Anthony Rendon at third base, Ryan Zimmerman at first base, Howie Kendrick in left with Matt Wieters doing the catching. Moises Sierra is in right field with Wilmer Defoe at second base, and Gio Gonzalez batting out of the 9 spot for the Nationals. Joey Lucchesi on the mound tonight for the Padres.
24-year-old making his 8th start, and he should feel very comfortable right now on a big league mound. He always attacks the zone. He pitches up in the zone effectively as well. Strikes early with the fastball, and he's got that curve. He's trying to refine his curveball as well, but that curve is a very nice pitch. Axe has his changeup. Get a lot of wipeout strikeouts with that off-speed pitch.
Now Lucchesi ready to work here to Michael A. Taylor. And the first pitch of the ball game is in there for strike 1, and we are underway. Now, Taylor really has been struggling. He's hitting at 184 coming in. 3 homers and 9 runs batted in. Playing very well defensively as always in center field. And if he can get on, is a speed threat. 10 out of 11 in stolen bases so far in the year for him.
And when a hitter is struggling, the worst way to start a ball game, especially needing off 0-2, Joey Lucchesi's got him right where he wants him.
He is 1 for his last 26 with 12 strikeouts along the way. And during the stretch, you got to feel like if you are Michael A. Taylor that you're down 0-2 just about every time you get in the box.
And that's why I think a lot of hitters, when they're struggling, they'll try to swing early in the count to avoid the strikeout. And I'm very surprised. The first 2 pitches, pretty good pitches. But Taylor has just taken them to work a 1-2 count.
On the ground, kind of a check swing, cut off by Villanueva. His throw on the run and just in time to get him. Nice play by Villanueva for out number 1.
Let's take a look at the Padres defense behind Joey Lucchesi, brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. In right field tonight, getting the start in the Sun Field, Matt Caesar. In center field, Manuel Margot, Franchi Cordero, and left on the infield, third to first, Villanueva, Galvis, Perella at second, Hosmer at first. Behind the dish tonight, A.J. Ellis catching Joey Lucchesi.
1 down for Trey Turner. Turner deep in the box on the right side, that foot right on the line. As he grounds one softly back towards Lucchesi. His throw to first is in time, and there are 2 down. Let's take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Got to win game 3 after dropping the first 2. How do you do that? Joey Mirror Clayton. What did Clayton Richard do last night? 8 solid innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. Didn't get much support, though, and crooked numbers early. So quick outs for Lucchesi. Rattle those bats in the Padre dugout. Put up crooked numbers early and hold that lead.
2 down here in the first inning brings up Anthony Rendon.
Don, we've talked about the last 2 games, how the Padres need to score first. When they score first this year, they are 11-1.
Strike over the outside corner. Casey jumping ahead of Rendon. Making his 8th start of his major league career, coming in at 3-2. 3.13 earned run average for Lucchesi. Center fielder Margot over towards right center. Good sized gap in left center. And a swing and a miss for Rendon. Up over the top of that. Changed up on him. 0-2.
The curve, movement, location, taking some off. Results in the bad swing from Rendon.
Obviously the first time in his career that he's ever faced Nationals hitters, and this is a good lineup. Sliding over is A.J. Ellis to block that. Ellis in the starting lineup tonight after Rafi Lopez making back-to-back starts. A.J. Ellis back in there tonight.
We made a point earlier when A.J. Ellis, the veteran catcher, I think it's a good thing for Joey Lucchesi. Kind of takes the thinking game out of it. I would trust my catcher, throw what he puts down, and hit the glove.
Close pitch and frame there for an extra second for home plate umpire Mike DeMuro.
You know what's beautiful about that last pitch? Even though it was a ball, it's exactly, watch A.J. Ellis's glove. It's exactly where he put the target. And that's a great sign. Could have gone either way. Looked like it was in just a little bit.
Rendon goes the other way with a liner that gets down, and Caesar will cut it off and get it back in quickly. It's a 2-out base hit. First base runner to reach tonight for the Nationals. Anthony Rendon aboard with an opposite field base hit.
That's good 2-strike hitting. Two-seam fastball, outer half of the plate, and Rendon, who was a tough out, he rattles this one to the opposite field. Shortening up on the backside, driving that ball to right center field.
So 2 down and a runner at first base brings up Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman returning to the Nationals lineup last night, missed the first game of the series. And checks in just over 200 at 205. 2 for 4 last night in his return. He missed 3 games with stiffness in his back and side. Leads the National League with 95.1 miles per hour average on his exit velocity. I know you're big on that number.
Well, that means he's squaring it up, right?
Yeah, he's hitting it hard.
Very few times he's below or above the sweet spot on that shillelagh. And that's just great hand-eye coordination, getting the hands in quickly to get that inside pitch.
But again, just hitting a 205 coming in. Waiting on a 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Matt Adams not in the lineup tonight for the Nationals. It's a good thing for the Padres, the way he's been going. Close pitch again, and Lucchesi not getting credit for it.
Not many times a lefty's going to get that breaking ball off the plate just a little bit to the right-handed hitter. A.J. Ellis does his best to try to frame it. Looks like a pretty good pitch, just off a little bit.
There have been a couple here he could have gotten. Line into center field for Zimmerman, went down to get it, and that's a single into center. First and second now, and Nationals trying to get something done here with 2 down.
You notice that Rendon, Zimmerman with 2 strikes, they are short and quick to that baseball, and he goes right back where it came from. There's the churve. He went down and got it, and that's off the end of the bat. Just misses Joey's glove. Well, let's face it, those are 2 tough outs. The good thing, though, single and single, station to station baseball with 2 outs.
Brings up Howie Kendrick, the veteran left fielder for the Nationals. Jumps back out of the way of a pitch inside.
You know what else is also huge for these Nationals? That 2 quick outs, working some ABs to where they're getting that pitch count up. It's still pretty good at 16, but still, he could have been out of the inning with fewer pitches. But you got to credit these hitters once in a while too for working the count after being 2 strikes down.
That'll drop in there for a strike. 1-1.
Okay, Joey throws the 2-seam fastball, the curveball, and the churve. Talked to Darren Ballsy before the game. He's trying to refine and throw that curveball, the traditional curveball, for a strike early in the count. And I think we just saw it right there.
He's able to get Taylor to ground out to third. Grounder back to Lucchesi off the bat of Trey Turner. 2 quick outs, but single for Rendon, a single for Zimmerman, and here we are in a first and second 2 down scenario. Two and two. That's the fastball, and it was running.
Great two-seamer down and away.
th pitch of this first inning coming up for Lucchesi. Rendon at second, Zimmerman at first. Trying to work his way around back-to-back base hits here in the first inning. And a grounder back to Lucchesi, who will fire to first for the out that gets him out of the jam. And that's strand 2. The Padres are coming up. Brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, Padres home run score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box. And by Petco, the pet company. Now the last shot, very special, near and dear to my partner, Mark Grant.
Very much so. At Candlestick Park in the dugout. In my honest opinion, played with a lot of guys, but the best hitter that I ever saw. And, you know, the memories last, obviously, and the one thing, the friendships. I've always said that the friendships are things that you can take with you for the rest of your life. You know, the money comes and goes, and all the accolades, all that stuff. But I made a plan during my career to where I would always get pictures like that with some of my closest teammates that I really admired. Obviously, that being one of them. So that's one I cherish, and it's a good one.
Matt Caesar getting a start tonight in right field for the Padres. Caesar getting a rare start, hitting a .243, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. Jankowski has been playing the majority of the games in right field lately.
Yeah, I can see why Matt Caesar could fit a leadoff role once in a while to spell Travis Jankowski. Lefty Gonzalez on the mound, lefty Jankowski, but Matt's got that type of swing to where he can spray the ball all over the field. He's working a 3-0 count here, which is very, very nice in the leadoff spot.
That's high, and a 4-pitch walk by Gio Gonzalez to start the night. Let's check out the Padres starting lineup tonight, brought to you by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Matt Caesar just let it off. Caesar is in right field. Eric Hosmer bats second at first base with Christian Villanueva at third base. Jose Perella at second. Franchi Cordero in left. Freddie Galvis at shortstop. A.J. Ellis doing the catching. Manuel Margot bats eighth and in center field with Joey Lucchesi still looking for that elusive first major league hit. 0 for 12 batting out of the 9 spot. Here is Eric Hosmer.
When you just read that lineup, the shot in the dugout, did you see A.J. Ellis?
I did not. I was reading the lineup.
He was looking through the scouting reports, looking at the lineup next half inning for the Washington Nationals, going over the scout. There he is, right there, on the right. Yeah, getting ready for next half inning when Joey Lucchesi takes the hill.
Two 2-0 the count to Eric Hosmer as we check out the scouting report.
Making his 8th start, the 32-year-old into his 9th year in the big leagues. He's got the 4-pitch mix and great with runners in scoring position. A .086 average. That's buckling down, making good quality pitches with runners in scoring position.
Joe Gonzalez walking the first batter that he faced tonight, and 7 balls, no strikes to begin this game. And Hosmer finally takes a strike, 3-1.
And those numbers I was talking about, runners in scoring position, pretty good sample size. Only 3 for 35 the opposition against Gonzalez.
32-year-old Gio Gonzalez. This one chopped to first, out there. They need to tag at second, and the tag is not in time. So in safely is Caesar. They do get the out of Hosmer, 3 unassisted.
Behind Gio Gonzalez, the Washington Nationals defense looks something like this, and it's brought to you by your San Diego Cadillac dealers. In the outfield, let's go right to left. Sierra, Taylor, Kendrick. First start in right field this season for Sierra. On the infield, Rendon, Turner, Defoe, Zimmerman, and Matt Wieters, the veteran Gold Glove catcher, is behind the plate.
An umpire headed over to the dugout here of the Nationals.
That's too much time, don't you think?
I would think so. They're not going to challenge. So Matt Caesar still at second base here, 1 down in the inning. Opening umpire tonight is Mike DeMero. Christian Villanueva, 252, 9 homers, and 20 runs batted in. And the recipient of a high strike call. 15-win season last year for Gio Gonzalez. 15-9 with a nifty 2.96 ERA, 32 starts.
It's a great year.
He's been with the Nationals since 2012. Broke into the big leagues, of course, with the Oakland A's back in 2008. 4 years with Oakland, and this marks his 7th year with the Nats. Falls behind, 2-1. Gio Gonzalez beat the Philadelphia Phillies on Friday. Only 2 hits allowed in 5 scoreless innings. 7-3 victory for the Nationals over the Phils. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball, and it's 2-2.
Well, he likes that curveball. He's kind of got like a kind of a herky-jerky delivery, not really that smooth, but he throws across his body as well. So it throws a little deception in there.
He had 1 start against the Padres last year here at Petco Park. His lone outing against them held the Padres to 1 unearned run in a 4-1 Nationals win here last year. Full count now. The Padres have a runner in scoring position. Gonzalez with runners in scoring position. The opponent just 3 for 35 at 0.86 against Gio Gonzalez this year. Seems to bear down. And he does here. Villanueva strikes out swinging. 2 down. A strikeout for Gio Gonzalez. It's time now for the Valley View Casino trivia question.
I love trivia.
Tonight's question: Tony Gwynn averaged 21.7 strikeouts per season in his career, which is amazing. How many hitters have struck out 22 times or more this season.
That's incredible.
That's unbelievable.
That,
what are we talking? 500-600 at bats?
at least I would say 550 to 600 plate appearances, right?
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
That's Caesar at second base, 2 down in the inning, and Jose Perella batting out of the cleanup spot and playing at second base. Evens up at 1-1. That's the changeup. We've seen the curveball, changeup, and the fastball from Gio Gonzalez.
You can tell he likes that curveball because it's very tough to hit. He throws it about 25% of the time, and the batting average against is only 226, so it's tough to square up. He probably goes to that with runners in scoring position, as you mentioned, Don, because of those good numbers. Whoa, worked underneath that one.
Derek Lilliquist looking on, the pitching coach for the Nationals. That's a strike over the outside corner, and it's 2-2. The breaking ball again. 20th pitch coming up of the first inning for Gio Gonzalez. Joey Lucchesi for the Padres through 20 first inning pitches.
See, this is where Gonzalez is so effective. He can go up the ladder with the fastball or drop the curveball down below the knees.
Changed up and missed, full count.
And he's throwing that changeup more this year than in years past. Years past, he's thrown maybe 15, 18%. He's thrown about 22% this year.
That's Caesar at second base, 2 away here in the Padres' first inning. And that is ball 4. And down to first base goes Perella. Second walk allowed by Gio Gonzalez. Talking about timely hitting and situational hitting for Tony Gwynn. 3,523 plate appearances, hit 325 against lefties, over 6,700 plate appearances against right-handers, hitting at 345 with runners on. He hit at 352, so we brought it to another level with guys on.
I remember playing with the Padres and getting traded to the Braves. Padres came to town to play us in Atlanta. Scouting reports, team meeting. We get to Tony Gwynn, and I didn't say anything. But somebody just said, just throw it down the middle because hopefully he'll hit it at somebody and we'll get him out that way. The point being, there's no one way to pitch this guy. Just pound the zone and hopefully hits it at somebody. We'll take our chances.
How about the 444 with the bases loaded?
Incredible. That's using the whole field and knowing the strike zone as well. A keen eye for the strike zone.
Now Gio Gonzalez trying to work his way around 2 walks in this inning, as he deals with Franchi Cordero now and falls behind 2-0.
Well, this is where the patience that we've seen the last couple of weeks from Franchi is going to pay off. Gonzalez is trying to go out of the zone, have Franchi chase for it, but not the case.
On base in 12 straight games is Franchi Cordero. 429 on base percentage during those games, and grounds this one foul just beyond the Padres dugout. Of course, they're housed on the first base side here at Petco Park. Nationals are trying to get their first sweep of the Padres in San Diego since July of '94, when they were the Expos. And the Expos had Cliff Floyd and Pedro Martinez on that team. This is back to the mound, and Gio Gonzalez will soft toss to first, and he does work around 2 walks in the inning. Done with 1 without a score.
Do you think it's really hit you, what it means to get 200 hits in one season, the fact that no other Padre has ever done that?
I don't think so. I think it'll hit me later on tonight when I'm talking to my wife or something. 200 hits is tough, and I didn't realize it was this tough, until I finally reached it, because, there's only 2.5 weeks left in the season right now, and that's a lot of hitting to get 200 hits, and I don't know if I'll do it again, so I guess I should cherish this moment and hope that I can do it again, but you just don't know, it's really tough.
Tony Gwynn talking about becoming the first Padre ever to collect 200 hits in a season. That was in 1984. He would go on to collect 213 that year and his first batting title, hitting .351. Now, guys, he said he didn't know if he would ever do it again. He would do it 4 more times, 86, 87, 89, and then 1997 at age 37 would be the last time he would do it, collecting his 8th batting title. Absolutely incredible, guys.
All right, Scan, thanks very much. Yeah, no doubt. 4 more times after that.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing to me. Early in his career doing that and then playing that long and looking at the whole career and then doing it towards the end of his career. It's almost like a pitcher, winning a Cy Young Award early in his career. And then, you pitch 15, 16 years and you win another one later in your career. It's really amazing.
Well, the only other Padre to do it, Mark Loretta. A lot of number 19s around the ballpark here tonight at Petco Park, but then again, there always are a lot of 19s.
It's great when we travel to other cities.
Yes.
Everybody wearing the retro jerseys. Gwynn, 19. Love to see that. Cheers.
A toast to Tony.
Absolutely.
Matt Wieters leading it off here, the switch hitting catcher for the Nationals. Casey going back and forth here as to what he wants to throw as he deals with 6, 7, and 8 for Washington here in the second inning. Wieters, Sierra, and Defoe. Lifted foul off to the right, out of play. 2 hits in the first inning for the Nationals. Singles by Rondon and by Zimmerman, but Casey worked his way around that jam. Got a ground out back to the mound. And very similar situation for Gio Gonzalez, who walked to and got a ground out back to the mound to get out of his inning. Swing and a miss, and Wieters becomes the first strikeout victim for Joey Lucchesi. Well, it's time now to answer our Valley View Casino trivia question tonight. Tony Gwynn averaged 21.7 strikeouts per season in his career. How many hitters have struck out 22 times or more this season? 176 already. Game 38 of the year.
Yeah, that's great.
So 1 down here in the second. Jesus Sierra pinch hit in last night's game.
I think there was a year where Tony only struck out 15 times on the season.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Sierra 196, no homers, 4 runs batted in.
I would like to find out, we could find out any stat these days, but how many strikeouts over the course of his career we're looking? I would say very few.
Elevates and Sierra chases. Fastball rising.
That fastball plays well up in the zone.
Only at 89, but
yeah. Look at the rotation there. 2-seam fastball up and away. Now you're mixing that curveball and that curve down in the zone, changing the eye level of those hitters. They've got to protect, especially with 2 strikes.
Swinging a foul tip held onto by A.J. Ellis. Back-to-back Ks for Lucchesi.
You know, you pound the zone with the fastball. You can also pound the zone with that curve. And there is the rotation. Tries to go the back door. And the hitter, Sierra's trying to protect. No chance of making contact with that nasty pitch.
2 down here in the second inning. Wilmer Defoe getting his second start of the series. And grounding one softly down the third baseline. Villanueva throws off balance and in time. A good inning for Lucchesi. 2 strikeouts, a ground out. We're scoreless.
Happy birthday. Wish you were here because I just saw a video the other day, him analyzing Barry Bonds' swing. And I almost had tears in my eyes because the way he was talking about the positions that he was in and how he was getting to hitting a baseball, it was exactly the way I thought about as a hitter. And never had an opportunity to talk to him about hitting. So I wish he was here. But least I can do is say happy birthday. So happy birthday upstairs.
Padres bench coach Mark McGwire played on the other side of the field for Tony Gwynn for 16 seasons. And it's so interesting, guys, that although Mark McGwire was setting records with home runs while Tony was setting records with base hits and batting average, so many of the fundamentals that Tony perfected carried over to no matter what kind of hitting style that you had. Mark McGwire with a ton of respect for him from the other side, guys.
All right, Scan, thanks very much. And there is a really cool picture, and I know you've seen it at Coors Field from the All-Star game that was at Coors Field, where Mark McGwire standing right next to Tony Gwynn. They had all the starters on the line together. It's a great shot there at Coors Field.
Bonds, Gwynn,
yes,
McGwire, Chipper. We can go on and on, but that's a great picture.
It was pretty cool.
Yes.
Now, only a guy like Mark McGwire can identify with some of the hitting things that Tony would think. It's interesting he would think along the same lines.
I think that's a great point that Bob made regarding no matter if you're a slap hitter, a doubles hitter, a home run hitter, there are still basic principles in every swing. And I remember Tony preached all the time that front foot's got to be down, the hand's got to be back, the knob of the bat to the ball, and the barrel will follow. And he just had incredible technique. Why? Because he worked at it every single day to hone his skills and be the best at it.
Second strikeout for Gio Gonzalez, one down here in the inning. And that'll bring up A.J. Ellis. A.J. hitting at .250, getting the start tonight. No homers and a run batted in.
Ooh, that's a good curveball right there.
Right at the bottom of the zone. Gio Gonzalez walked 2 in the first inning. Did not allow a run. He was able to get Franchy Cordero to ground one back to him and end the inning. Starts the second with a K of Freddie Galvis.
And take note how Gio Gonzalez likes to work quickly. He gets that ball back from Wieters and he is backpedaling right back up to that rubber and getting ready to go.
Always has been.
Yep.
Gio Gonzalez coming in with a 4-2 record, 2.33 earned run average, 8th start of the year. Fresh off a win against the Philadelphia Phillies. Foul back, 2-2. Nationals have taken the first 2 games of this series. Padres have dropped their 6th home series of the season, unfortunately. And of course, Steven Strasburg pitching in this series. On the ground, up the middle into center field. A.J. Ellis with a 1-out single. First hit of the night for San Diego.
Playing a nice game of pepper on a high fastball, 4-seamer. A.J. getting extended and trying to do the best he can. Coming right back at you, Gio. Underneath the glove, in front of the knee. That's being short and quick to that pitch.
1 out, 1 on, and Manuel Margot coming up here for the Padres. 179 average for Manny, batting out of the 8th spot with a home run, 8 runs batted in. Little dribbler over to plate is Gonzalez, and he will fire one down the right field line. Up off the netting and stopping at third base is Ellis. Margot cruises into second base. And Gio Gonzalez picked it up, knew he had to hurry, and throws it away.
Sometimes the best play is no play. That ball was hit in such a way down the third baseline that I think even if it's a good throw, Manuel Margot may beat it out. That ball also beaten into the ground. Looks like it had some mud on it, didn't it? Maybe that affected the grip of Gio Gonzalez. Any way you look at it, a couple of runners in scoring position.
It is a base hit and an error. He would have beaten it out. I agree with you. We're coming on the throw. Infield in now for the Nats. Second and third with 1 out. And a chance here for Joey Lucchesi to help himself out. Still looking for that first major league hit. Comes in at 0-12.
Once again, just trying to concentrate on probably thinking of the outer half of the plate and play a game of pepper with Gio Gonzalez. Trying to avoid the strikeout. Put the ball in play. The infield is not all the way in. Middle infielder is kind of halfway to a little bit more in. So it cuts down their range.
In there for a strike, 2-1. Throwing error by Gonzalez has put runners at second and third with 1 away. And there's strike 2. Back-to-back fastballs there, and it's 2-2. He's going after him right now. Started to nibble, but Casey on a check swing. Did he go? No. Check with Chip Gibson, third base umpire. Full count. 5th 3-ball count already for Gio Gonzalez, who walked 2 in the first inning. Dave Martinez, the new manager of the Nationals, and Derek Lilliquist, his pitching coach. Ball 4, and he walks Lucchesi, and down to first base he goes to load the bases. 3rd walk given up by Gio Gonzalez. Let's take a look at the Jerome's best seats in the house. Enter to win these seats at any Jerome's location. Great seats. The best seats in the house.
No question about it. Is there any, anything better than coming to a big league ball game, putting your feet up in a big padded chair like that?
Still trying to figure out how we can get in on that deal.
I think you know some people who can make that happen.
I don't know. Derek Lilliquist, pitching coach out there. Anthony Rendon lightening the mood. Bases filled with Padres, 1 down. They've had their chances. They stranded 2 in the first. Now they've got the bases loaded with 1 out. The top of the order, Matt Caesar coming up. Swing and a miss for strike one.
Pulls the string on the changeup. You might see a lot of off-speed pitches here. If he throws a fastball, you probably won't see one in the zone.
Bunt bid, and it is fouled off. There's a fastball right there, 0-2. Ellis at third, Margot at second, Luke Casey at first. Bouncing in, blocked by Wieters. Nicely done.
That's a very nice block by the Nationals catcher. Put down breaking ball. Anticipate that breaking ball in the dirt. Get yourself in a good position.
There's a big frame too. We've talked about it.
Yep.
6'5", Matt Wieters. Caesar going after that high fastball, and it's 1-2. Padres trying to jump on top here in the bottom of the second inning. Ellis, Margot, and Luke Casey on the bases for the Padres here. Caesar with a swing and a miss and a big strikeout for Gio Gonzalez. His third of the game, 2 down.
Started the at-bat with a changeup, and he finishes him off with a changeup down out of the zone. Well, you know, as a hitter, you're looking, well, you're got 2 runners in scoring position. You really want to put the ball in play, drive those 2 in, and he does a nice job of pulling the string for the strikeout there.
2 down, bases loaded for Eric Hosmer. Grounded out to first base in the first inning. Jumps back out of the way of that pitch inside. Another fastball. 25th pitch of the inning coming up here for Gio Gonzalez. Hosmer with 1 grand slam to his credit in his career. Two and 0.
And Hosmer going into this game 5 for 7 with 2 home runs. 4 runs batted in against Gio Gonzalez for his career.
That's a strike, and Hosmer taking it over that inside corner. You mentioned the success for Hosmer against him. Went around for strike 2. Pitch running down and away from him. 2-2. A.J. Ellis singled. Margot reached on the infield hit. The throwing error. The runners at second and third. He walked Luke Casey. Now Hosmer fouls one off. Just staying alive. Bases filled with Padres with 2 down here in the second inning. A lot of pitches here for Gio Gonzalez. This will be 54 of his outing. And Hosmer grounds it down the first baseline. Gonzalez will apply the tag, and he will get out of the bases loaded jam. Done with 2 without a score.
Hello.
Hello, may I speak with Tony, please?
This is Tony.
Tony, this is Jack O'Connell with the Baseball Writers Association of New York City. How are you today?
I'm good.
Tony, I'm calling to tell you that the Baseball Writers have elected you to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Quite a day, quite a moment, quite a man as we celebrate the life of Tony Gwynn. Scoreless as we head to the third inning. His agent and good friend John Boggs kind enough to join us. Great to see you, John. Thanks for coming up.
Great being on, Don. Mud, fantastic to be here, and watching that video really brings back memories. I was right there, and it was a pretty emotional moment. And to tell you the truth, I'd never really seen Tony that emotional for as long as I know him. Only a handful of times, and that was one of the times. Meant a lot to him.
The thing that amazes me, John, is that he was still on edge whether he thought he was going to make the Hall of Fame or not.
Mud, I tell you, I've talked about this earlier. You know, I came in, and I think there was a clip in there later on. I saw it earlier today that he said, yeah, my agent's over there. And he said, it's no big deal. You know, you're in. I'm going, you're kidding me? I mean, of course you're in. But he never took, he never took it for granted. And that just amazed me. But we used to talk all the time, how many batting titles would it take to get in the Hall of Fame? And when he got to 8, I said, I think you're a lock. He goes, you never know.
Well, the number 19 throughout this ballpark, as it is every night, but especially tonight. And it is amazing. I mean, 4 years has gone by so quickly, I would imagine.
It's amazing, Don. It's he'd be 58, and that's still so young. And it really kind of makes me shake my head because it's 4 years, but it seems like a century, and yet it seems like yesterday, just the memories and all the people he affected. And obviously he affected me greatly because he was an everyday component in my life. We would talk every day, and it was such a consistent friendship that it was something that is really sorely missed, because there's plenty of times I feel like picking up the phone and saying, I wonder what T would say about this, or what does he think about what's going on in the game or what's happening, and you don't have that phone call to make.
Those videos, it's just to hear his voice, and that's another thing that's, you know as well as anybody, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh,
so when Junior speaks, it's almost like his dad is there, which is kind of, it's really.
He probably is sick of me saying it, because I've tried to stop, because there'll be a phrase he'll say, or he'll say something like, man, you just sound like your dad there. And it just, yeah, I know, but that MLB presentation of Mr. Padre, he was doing the voiceovers, and I was there, you were there, and I am telling you, I said to myself, how in the world did Tony do the voiceovers for when did they capture this audio? And then it's like, no, it's little Tony. And it was just amazing. When we went up on the stage, I said, man, you really blew my mind, because you really sounded like, he goes, yeah, it blew my own mind, because I started hearing my dad. So it was pretty special.
Taylor will foul this off to the right out of play. What is your favorite Tony Gwynn memory of his playing career, if you had to point to one thing that you got the most enjoyment out of?
Well, there's so many, Don, but you pick the big ones because they're the most impactful, but you just start listing them off. I think the home run at Yankee Stadium was just awesome, because he respected the history of the game so much, and to get a bomb there meant a lot to him. The 3,000 hit, which was memorable to me, because I was, followed him to St. Louis, and then last minute going to Montreal, and my alarm in the hotel in St. Louis didn't work, so I got up and I got to the hotel, the airport, I should say, and it was at 5 o'clock in the morning for like a 7 o'clock flight. And I am telling you, it was unbelievable. And by the time I crashed at the hotel in Montreal, I was done. And Alicia had to call me and said, let's go. And I got dressed faster than I ever did in my life. And the next thing you know, he got hit first time up, 3,000.
Taylor with a swing and a miss, and he strikes out. Back-to-back Ks for Lucchesi, 4 in all, 2 down.
John, a lot of fans in baseball, throughout the baseball world, they hear the name Tony Gwynn, they think the 8 batting titles.
Right.
But Tony himself said that he was most proud of that first Gold Glove that he won.
Oh, I tell you, I was lucky enough to call him and let him know he won it. He was somewhere with Alicia, and I forget what city exactly. And I called him, and he was sick. He had gotten some bug or something, and I called him. I said, how you doing, T? And he goes, oh, I'm sick. I feel terrible. I said, well, I got good news for you. He said, you won your Gold Glove. And I heard a scream and a yell, and it was blank. I said, Tony. And he was jumping up and down and everything. I've never heard that kind of reaction because he worked very hard at that.
Galvis will pick it and throw to first base.
He worked very hard at that, and it meant a lot to him because he worked so hard. Okay.
We will step aside, come back and stay with us another half inning.
Okay.
We'll be back. It is scoreless. Last of the third inning back at Petco Park in San Diego without a score. Christian Villanueva, Jose Perella, and Franchi Cordero anticipated in the inning. John Boggs, the agent and very good friend of Tony Gwynn, joining us here tonight in the booth as we celebrate the life of Tony Gwynn, which would have been his 58th birthday today. And, you know, knowing him from the inside as you do, I think a lot of people don't realize what a great family man he really was. And family came first, it appeared, from afar.
Absolutely, Don. Family was first, and he was a dedicated husband and father and an example for all of us. And everything that revolved around the family, he was 100% behind. And it was, you know, you never saw a prouder father, whether Nisha was playing basketball or Tony was playing basketball or baseball. He was there, you know, completely supporting the family, and him and Alicia were just a tremendous team together.
He just lit up every time you'd ask him about the kids or about Alicia, and he just
absolutely.
Hey, how's the family doing? And he would just smile and just go on about them and tell them what they're doing. And
that's what it was all about. And I mean, they were childhood sweethearts, Alicia and Tony, and Alicia went through it all with him in the minor leagues and to the big leagues, and that to him was the most important thing in the world. And obviously, children came along, and I think they're carrying his legacy on, you know, incredibly so. I mean, with Tony and his family and Anisha and her family, they're great individuals, great people, and great parents.
We are enjoying Tony Gwynn Jr. a great deal here. He's done a terrific job here on Fox Sports San Diego.
I just love that kid.
He's something else. He's something
special, man.
He really is. He really is. And his smile, I mean, it lights up a room just like his dad did. And you know, he's creating his own path too.
He's going to be joining us in the middle innings of this game on a very special night from Petco Park. Jose Perella batting here with one out, bases empty.
Did you talk to Tony each and every day?
Yeah, it got to the point. It was so funny because, you know, I would call at his house or whatever. Alicia would call and said, "It's the pest." And I was proud to wear that moniker, you know. And he'd say, "What you want?" you know?
Right.
And I'd say, hey, T, what's going on today? And then we get into a conversation or what have you. Hey, on a day I didn't call or whatever, you know, he'd call me and say, what's going on? What's wrong? You know, is everything okay? Are you okay? So, no, it was, as I said, it was a very common occurrence. And it was funny because, you know, when he played, we didn't have the cell phones or anything like that. And I could measure his steps. I knew that when the game was over, okay, probably at the park and shower and everything, you could measure steps. And I'd call his room, and everything was an alias then. And sure enough, the phone would ring, and he'd pick it up. It was like clockwork.
Kind of a creature of habit, I guess.
Absolutely.
Same thing every day.
Absolutely. And he'd be reviewing his videos of his swing, and he'd be looking at it. And, I mean, he was such a student of the game, too. Yeah. That was something that, you know, was common, and it was something he practiced after every game.
How important was it for him to stay with this team and to stay with one team in his entire career?
That was it. That was it with him. He was a Padre, and he was proud of being a Padre. He was proud of being a San Diego Aztec, and I think nothing really would have, you know, changed his mind, because so many people, including his father, said, listen, Tony, you could, you know, make a difference someplace else or what have you. And he said, nope, San Diego is where I've got to be. And I think, you know, his legacy is indicative of the fact of his loyalty to the city and to the community and to the ballpark and the ball club, I should say.
It was amazing watching you mentioned the MLB documentary that they did do, and his basketball career. I had no idea how accomplished basketball player he was.
He was amazing, and I'll tell you, when they first built their house in Poway, he put in a basketball court. I'll never forget it to this day. He said, let's play some basketball, and a lot of the family was there. Next thing you know, I was involved in a full court basketball game, and thank God, I think his brother-in-law fouled him, and they were in an argument, and it basically saved my life because I was gassed.
Thank you so much for coming up.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you very
John.
much.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it very much.
Ripped down the right field line at the track at the wall, gone. Off the facing at the bottom of the upper deck, and Tony Gwynn goes deep.
Pretty special moment for a very special guy, and his son is alongside now. Tony Gwynn Jr. and Mark Sweeney joins us as we move here to the fourth inning. You were there for that, correct?
I was. As the story goes, my mom was a stickler for, if I was sitting with her at a game, I had to be quiet and watch the game. There was no getting into back and forth with fans, but that day she let me let loose. And for about 5 to 6 innings, Yankee fans didn't like me very much.
Yeah.
I was bringing the noise all game.
Well, he was bringing the noise as well.
Yeah.
But what did that feel like when he hit that home? Obviously not known for home run power, but you knew he had it in him.
Yeah.
And it was against David Wells,
Yeah.
who's from San Diego here. What was that like for you?
I mean, I get goosebumps as we're sitting here talking about it.
This is driven out to deep left center field, and when it comes down, the Nationals have got a lead into the bullpen. Anthony Rendon, with his second home run of the year, has put the Nationals on top 1-0. He's had a good series, and he continues it tonight.
Really an underrated hitter. You don't hear a lot about him. He's dealt with injuries, but one of the sweetest right-handed strokes. Not a lot of effort. There's that curve, it looks like. Might have been a curveball. Stays on it well, and this ball is smoked to left center. Look at that backside come through, finish through the baseball, create that backspin, and Nationals have a 1-0 lead.
Here's Ryan Zimmerman with the Nats on top 1-0.
So, as I was saying, I get goosebumps as I still watch that video. And, Sween, you know this well as anybody. The first at bat in that game, it was a hit and run with Kiovi Veras, and my dad hit a pitch that he really had no business even putting in play. It was down, it was a ball off the plate, and he ends up getting a single on it. And on his way down, David Wells is losing his mind. He's very irritated that my dad got to the pitch. So, you know, after the game, my dad is telling me all this. He knows the way David's thinking at this point. He knows David's upset. He's probably going to try to come hard in. And you look at that video, that pitch is like chest high. It's not even a strike, but he's looking in there. And, you know, that at that point in his career, as he already started kind of embracing letting his swing go on the ball in, you started to see him drive the ball a little bit more. And I couldn't have been more proud and happy at that point.
I'll tell you a fascinating story about that, and it was kind of blind luck. I'm in the locker room, and the inning's over, and T is hitting that inning. And he comes by, and I'm going out to the dugout again after getting some coffee. Freezing night, so I had to get myself just warmed up. That was the only thing. And he said, you know what? I think he's going to sneak a fastball by me. I got nervous because I thought he was asking me the question. Obviously, he wasn't asking my opinion.
He had it figured out.
But he had it in his mind. To your point, he had it in his mind that he was going to try to sneak a fastball by him. And I'm over the railing, and I'm watching this, and he hits it off the facade, and I said, are you kidding me? And we've said that plenty of times, are you kidding me, to what your dad did. But that moment, in being able to have him go through that in his mind and be able to come up to the plate and execute it, it was fascinating to me, and against David Wells, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have seen that Mr. Padre, you hear the story Tim Flannery talking about, you know, they get rained out. That's how my dad's mind really thought a lot of times. I mean, he could tell you for a long time, even after he played, he could tell you every pitch of a certain at-bat on a particular day. It could have been 15 years ago. He could still remember. He had a very smooth and clean mind as it pertained to his at-bats and what was going on during those at-bats.
Your dad reinforced himself with video, and I think he was really the patriot to get that through everybody else as players. Was that how he remembered everything, or was it something that he had to reinforce with his swing and what they were trying to do to him?
I think, like you said, I think video was just reinforcement. It was something that was already going through his head.
Well, got him picked off here, and caught stealing is Howie Kendrick for out number 2. He guessed and guessed wrong.
Yeah, it was certainly something that I think it was a God-given ability. He just had a really good memory. He knew how guys were going to attack him, and it just seemed like it was one of those things where, like you said, it was a lot of times you were like, I can't believe this is really happening.
I think it was really fascinating that when it was left on left, and we heard the numbers of what he was all about, because that was the years of specialty lefties who would come in and face him. As we see Merv Retman, the hitting coach, that was their church right there when they were starting to work. Looks like they're going to challenge that play, the Washington Nationals. But you would think of what was happening, and in left on left, it was almost embarrassing for the left-hander specialist. He'd come in and flip that slider, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and most of the times he came through because of what he wanted to do.
We'll get a look at this play at second base. Howie Kendrick, who thought he got in safely. I think he's out.
Yeah, I do too. Looks like it.
Call on the field was out. I was pretty sure he was safe and has never left second base.
Well, the challenge with that play is the tag is within that back foot area. It'll be hard to get a different angle.
Still out.
Interesting challenge from Dave Martinez, in my opinion.
Loses his challenge. 2 down in the inning, and Matt Wieters coming up here for the Nationals. He's got a count of 1-0 as they get Howie Kendrick at second base. So everybody knew Tony Gwynn Jr. at Yankee Stadium after that. Everybody in that general facility. What section were you in? Do you recall?
I don't remember the section, but I do remember that the next section over, Denzel Washington and Bruce Willis were sitting there because they were filming The Siege at the time. And so from the moment we walked in the stadium, the Yankee fans knew who we were, and they were on us. And so I think after I got the okay from my mom, there had been some banter back and forth. And I was used to a lot of the things that were said to my dad, you know, about his weight, whether it be mixing a salad bar, things of that nature. My dad was used to it. So I kind of was numb to it. So those type of things didn't bother me. It just fueled me to kind of give my best banter back. And I remember peeking over at one time, and they were laughing. Both Bruce Willis and Denzel Washington were both laughing at what was going on in the section next to him.
Well, what was fascinating about that was just the 1998 World Series, and there's your dad on the main stage.
1-0 Nationals.
I miss our laughs and our talks because, like I said, I just didn't play with them. I got 3 years with my son playing for him also at San Diego State, so that was special. We had a lot of awards, and he let me be myself. He knew I was going to talk mess, and he just wore it. He just took it. He dished it out. He did a lot of laughing. We had a lot of fun, and, you know, that's what I'm going to miss.
Has to be surreal, I guess, in some ways, really, to hear from a lot of your dad's ex-teammates, friends.
It is, and the funny part is that year, that 98 team, I think that's the most fun my dad ever had. And you heard Greg kind of allude to it. My dad, for as much as he liked to laugh and liked to talk, when he got to the yard, he was relatively serious about everything he did up until, you know, after the game was over. So, you know, when Bonnie came along and Sweeney was here, Cammy was here, that was the first time I actually saw him kind of like loosen up and not be so serious all the time. And he kind of was forced to. He didn't really have a choice with the group of guys that were in that locker room that year.
Yeah, you think about that year, and I think the influence that your dad had on Greg Vaughn. And Greg Vaughn had his best year he's ever had, 50 home runs. And we jumped on his back. And it was pretty important, the relationship that they had, because Greg Vaughn was at a point of his career where he had to be reinforced. And your dad was the perfect element to get Greg Vaughn to that next level. And it was so important for that relationship. And you can see it. Thought so much of it that his son, Corey, ends up going to San Diego State when Tony was there. Just the impact that Tony had on our lives, but especially when you're talking about Greg Vaughn and trying to search for that career, it was fascinating to me.
This is driven down the left field line, but foul. You know, it's funny that you say, not funny, but it's saying that your dad was very serious when it was the ballpark. I can't think in looking at videos from his era of a guy who smiled more on camera than your dad did.
He loved to smile. I mean, he loved to talk baseball. He loved being in this environment where he got to be around his teammates. And even though he wasn't a loud guy or a guy who, you know, was talking all the time, I think he just enjoyed being in the environment. And I remember as a kid coming in here to the ballpark, seeing Swing, seeing Vonnie out here early. My dad, especially towards that part of his career, he wasn't hitting in the regular groups as much. He would hit early BP. He may go do some stuff at the tee in the cage, but that was really it. And so, you know, watching these guys go to work and really figure out their swings before games was some of my favorite parts of coming to the ballpark, honestly.
One down here in the fourth inning. A.J. Ellis batting.
Well, to you, the one question that I have, and it was it's very understanding of what your dad was all about. It was baseball when he was here, but it was also family.
Line down the left field line. That's going to one hop up and over the wall. A ground rule double here for A.J. Ellis with one down. Second hit of the night for A.J. Ellis, 2 for 2.
The question I have for you is that how did he prioritize and how did you feel when he left the ballpark? You knew how important it was to his craft and how much he put into it, but you also realized how much family meant to him.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think he did a really good job of when he, you know, my dad could go 3 for 4 and still be unhappy with his swing, but when he got in the door and after he did his video session, it was out the window at that point. I mean, I remember when I started playing, he used to tell me, hey, this you have from the car ride home to get whatever it is out of your system. Roll your windows down, scream out the car, get it all out. But once you walk in that door, you got to be a husband and you got to be a dad. So those are things that I took from him as well.
A liner into left field from Margot. Coming around from second is A.J. Ellis. Throw will go to second. It's an RBI double, and the Padres have tied the score 1-1. Back-to-back doubles here with one down in the fourth inning, and they've tied the game.
Tell you what, all the work that Manny Margot has put in is starting to start creeping into his game action. And why I say that, last night struggled with the breaking ball. Well, who didn't against Jeremy Hellickson? The fastball is what you have to attack. This is exactly what he gets here and laces this to left field and also using his speed element. That's the Manny Margot that we fell in love with last year, and hopefully he continues his hot trend.
Margot at second base. Joey Lucchesi batting for the second time. Walked his first time up. Runner going for third, and the throw to third, and Margot will be out. Well, nothing screening Wieters there with the left-handed hitter in there, wide open. Right-handed box, and he fires down to third base for the out.
Not a very good jump there by Manny Margot. Didn't have a big lead, and he's out by a lot.
So 2 down in the inning, 1-1 the count to Lucchesi. Thought he may be bunting to move the runner over, but no attempt to bunt there prior to the stolen base attempt. Padres have tied it up here. And Lucchesi strikes out to end the inning. Padres get a run, tied up 1-1 to the fifth we go.
center field. There it is. Number 3,000 for Tony Gwynn. And all of Tony's teammates streaming out of the dugout to congratulate him. And there's his mom, Videla, who, by the way, is celebrating a birthday tonight.
3,000th hit. Incredible moment.
It was. It was funny, that road trip, I think they started in St. Louis. And Mark McGuire actually happened to be going for, I believe it was 500 at the time.
Yeah, it was.
Mark gets it that last day. My dad gets one hit. I think it was a double. Had to go to Montreal. I had to come back down this way to get ready for some area code games. But it was, I think it was more for him. It was probably a relief. He had been talking about it the whole year at that point, and that's in August. So I think he was just happy to get it over with and kind of get back to some normalcy.
Tony is known for, obviously, the 5.5 hole in between short and third base. Was that something he preached, or was it just a tailor-made swing and that was his strength?
It was something he preached. I think for my dad, and you got to kind of get into the technical aspect of it. My dad hit at the very front of the box, which is really unheard of. Nobody really does it
anymore.
And I think that allowed him to go along with his swing to really wear out that part of the field. And I remember as I got older, and this is the best part about my dad, is he always was trying to evolve in his, he had his set things that, as far as hitting that was concerned, and he stuck to those. But he wanted to evolve in some of the other areas that, maybe he felt like there was room to get better at.
Liner at Cordero makes the catch, had to pull it out of the light bank there for out number one. It's time now for the tools of the trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks, and here is the 5.5 hole.
He wore it out, and you could see it. You could put 5 guys over there, he would hit it through that hole. And it was just amazing how he could handle the barrel of the bat. And it didn't matter whether it was a breaking ball or fastball. He had the ability, and what I thought was really important for him is his contact point and how he used the batting tee. So many kids these days are trying to create their craft, and they put it in a comfortable spot. That's what Tony did not do. He put it way back in his stance, hammered balls, and he was consistent of where that ball was going. So it was really about the bat path, everything working together, and it was fascinating to watch him go about that. I could watch batting practice all day long, but what I wanted to really dive into is when he worked off the batting tee. That was his own time. So we had to stay away. It wasn't like we'd huddle around and watch the batting tee, but it was really in spring training when you saw him at his craft, because he had to get that synced in, and it was fascinating to me. And you know how important the batting tee is.
It was funny. I was actually sitting out here talking to the Washington Nationals assistant hitting coach, Joe Dillon, yesterday, and Dave Martinez walked by, and I had never met him. I introduced myself, and he began to tell me a story about when he was a rookie. He got out here early to watch my dad take BP, and it just so happened they weren't taking BP that day, but my dad had the tee on the plate out here and was just hitting balls, and he said he proceeded to call Dave Martinez over and have a conversation with him, and Dave said it helped him for the rest of his career, some of the things he learned that day.
That's amazing. I mean, I've heard so much about your dad and the tee, but I mean, can you think of other players who used the tee that much? I mean, it seemed like it was the key to everything that he did.
Yeah, he did. It was fascinating because it wasn't necessarily when he was struggling. It was just to reinforce everything that he was trying to do, and it wasn't the most important thing. And T said it wasn't necessarily batting practice, because when he took batting practice, we'd take rounds of 10. He'd walk out after 3 or 4 swings because he knew he was locked in, or he had another agenda, what it was more important to get ready for that particular night.
There was never an instance that he took BP and there wasn't some purpose that he was working on that day. So on a typical day, he'd start his rounds, he'd hit a couple 2-hoppers through that 5. Everything was going through the 5 hole through the first 2 rounds. After those, now you start seeing the line drives in the left center, center field. Last 2 rounds, okay, he's opening it up. There was a routine and there was a process to everything he was doing in batting practice. And that's one of the things that he installed in me early. Don't just go out here and hit baseballs and make yourself feel good. You need to be prepping your swing for the game and what you're going to do during that game. You talked about the tee and the placement of the tee. Just listening to Albert Pujols the other day, he was saying that was one of the things that he took from my dad, was setting that tee deep. And you said it, guys don't like to be uncomfortable. And how he thought of that pitch was, it's the toughest pitch that I'm going to see in a game, so I'm going to start there and work my way to the easier ones because those are the ones I should be hammering if I can hit this pitch right here.
I'm curious about the thought process of being up in the box too. I mean, before breakage, or I mean, was it?
According to him, he couldn't wait long enough, so he moved all the way to the front of the box because he had a problem staying back. And you know, Swing can attest to this. When he was struggling, that'd be the first. I'm jumping at the baseball. I'm jumping at the baseball.
And he wasn't.
And he really wasn't.
Wow. Now we know how to jump. And he did not jump. I said a story on the pregame show, which it was pretty interesting. I was sitting next to Merv Retman, the hitting coach, who had a tremendous relationship with Tony. And I'm sitting on a day game. He said, "Man, I hope he gets a hit here." And I immediately looked up to the scoreboard. He was hitting 329. So I'm sitting there going, he has to get a hit? Like 329. We're all sitting here at 210. Yeah. And it was everybody. It was like one of those struggling times. But the reason why he said it, he goes, you know what? He called me on the way home from the ballpark last night. He said he didn't like where his hands were. If I was in the third base dugout and I took a picture of him, his hands were in the same spot.
No doubt.
But he was so meticulous of what, in a feel, he said to him, he goes, you know what, I really want to do that. So Merv was saying it to me because he wanted to reinforce the adjustment that he made. That's how meticulous Tony Gwynn was at his craft.
I've been around a conversation where he may have not have had a hit that game. He'd go to Merv and be like, listen, this is what I want to do this at bat. If he went out and did it, it didn't matter if he got a hit or not. He was content because he knew the next day he was going to be in a much better position to be on the attack.
Gio Gonzalez here squaring again and pulling it back again for another strike. So hit 3-0. Now it's full count. One out single by Wilmer Defoe has him at first base, held on by Hosmer in this 1-1 ball game here in the 5th inning. Villanueva crashing from third base, anticipating the bunt here, and Hosmer holding the runner on and then also crashing. And there goes the runner, and the throw down to second base. They've got him hung up. And Hosmer will apply the tag on Defoe. 2 down. Kept going over there, and this time he was guessing and guessing wrong. 2 down.
You know, it looked like he changed up his move to first base, that higher leg kick, and you see him reading the base runner. The ability to get him in the rundown and easily with a tag is Hosmer.
So 2 down, and Gio Gonzalez with a full count here. Takes care of the base runner and Wilmer Defoe. Now Gonzalez strikes out. Rearing back was Lucchesi to get him on the fastball. Halfway through, tied at 1.
Brian Dutcher in the house here tonight as we talk about a former Aztec, a couple of former Aztecs, in fact. But what did it mean to your dad to be an Aztec?
Oh, I mean, that meant a lot. And I didn't really realize it until I went there and got a chance to be an Aztec myself. Obviously, my dad, my uncle, my mom all went to San Diego State. And it was a big deal for me. And I think it hurt him a little bit when I originally committed to Cal State Fullerton. You know, as a 17-year-old kid, you kind of want to get out on your own and do your own thing. But that's the one time he's ever really impacted my decision making. I mean, he came in the room, kind of had this somber look on his face. He was like, "Hey, man, you know, Coach Dietz is holding on to that job for me until I retire." And I was like, "Really?" Thinking that he's nowhere near, you know, ready to quit. Yeah. But at that moment, I think I realized that he was serious about it. And then I thought to myself, how many opportunities would I ever have to play for my dad? And at that point, it became an easy decision. Coach Horton, who was the head coach at that time at Cal State Fullerton, was really gracious in letting me out of my commitment, and he understood. I mean, it was kind of tough. It was kind of tough for him to keep me there, knowing, you know, that my dad was eventually going to take over as being the head coach.
T, for people that obviously don't get to share time with you and knowing your dad, did he put pressure on you at all, or did you feel any pressure when it came down to going out there and performing?
When it came to the game of baseball, I really don't think you could have asked for him to handle it any better. My dad didn't say really 2 words to me about baseball very often. It wasn't until going into my senior year of high school when I started asking more questions that he opened up the book basically and began to just be a guide for me, give me as much information as possible. But he was really hands off prior to that. I think he recognized, you know, with us sharing the same name, playing the same sport, being in the same exact city, that it was already going to be difficult from that standpoint. But much more hands off. Except basketball, he was a lot more verbal when I wasn't playing well.
Who had a better shot? Seriously, in basketball, who had a better shot?
I think he would tell you that I had the better jumper.
Really?
Yeah, he was the better ball handler, though. You guys got quiet on me right there.
I'm just trying to drink it in.
I'm taking it all in. I really am. It's amazing to me because you think of, as this one is popped up back a second, shallow center. And the shortstop, Trey Turner, out there to make the catch, 2 down. Prior to and I told this to John Boggs, I did not know this. Prior to the MLB documentary that came out, I had no idea how great a basketball player your dad really was.
He was good, man. It took me till I was about 16, 17 before I actually beat him one-on-one. And I had some advantages. Obviously, his knees were hurt and he couldn't move. We're playing on concrete.
Couldn't move because he was rocking the throw right there. Kidding me?
But
that is sweet.
My dad, he could play, man, and that was his first love. I think not a lot of people know that. He loved the game of basketball. He didn't really see me play baseball that much until I started being a professional. Prior to that, obviously he saw me at San Diego State because he was my coach too, but those were like his first moments actually getting to see me play baseball. Basketball, he pretty much was taped every single game I ever played in. So, I mean, it was a thrill for him to watch me out on the court. Baseball, I think he knew. It was just baseball's such a difficult sport. You don't need any extra added, you know, difficulties to it.
Okay, now you're in the major leagues. How much are you hearing from him from your at-bats? I mean, how much did you hear from him after games? Did he say anything?
I called him every day. I called him every day after games, especially earlier on when I'm trying to find my way as a big leaguer. And granted, I had a lot of resources I could call, you know, whether it was Swing, whether it was Hoffy. I could call any of these guys, but that relationship my dad and I had was special. So I called him a lot, and he was very careful of how he approached those type of conversations.
Villanueva grounding out. Gio Gonzalez has a 1-2-3 fifth, tied at 1. His defense, certainly something that he was very proud of and got very good at over the course of his career. This in the 1998 NLCS in Moises Salou, and that is something, Tony, that I know he took a great deal of pride in.
He did, and you know, coming in from San Diego State, his defense was weak. I mean, he didn't have a very strong throwing arm, and but my dad was one of those guys. He wanted to be an all-around player, so he worked tirelessly at his defense. Every time I ever came with him to the park, he's getting balls down the line, he's getting balls off the wall, he's getting balls where he's getting a chance to kind of feel for the wall. I mean, he tried to simulate every circumstance he could defensively in order to be a better defensive player.
Villanueva down there at third base, likely an error to start the sixth inning as Taylor will reach. Actually, they're going to give him a single.
See him going to his left, and you see trying to field that behind him. Been a struggle at times defensively for Christian Villanueva. We saw some miscues down in Mexico, but also trying to shore up that position.
So lead runner on here, and Michael Taylor and Trey Turner coming up.
I think that was one of those plays that probably could have been made.
I think you're right.
How much did the Gold Glove mean to your dad, that first one?
I think it meant a lot to him. And I think once he got a taste of the first one, I think he wanted to get more. And you know, being that my dad was a hooper, he could play some hoop. He was a good athlete. Earlier on, you saw a lot more of those plays where he's going over walls and bringing balls back. But there was so much more to his game as far as he knew how to take the right angles to balls. He knew how to get the right kind of spin on his throw to make sure that it had enough carry, because my dad never had a cannon of an arm. He was just really accurate, and he worked tirelessly. I told you guys a story last homestand about when we played catch. If I threw a ball over his head or short hopped him a couple times, catch was over. Like he was very, very strict about those things, because he knew how hard he had to work to get his arm to where it was, and the accuracy, how important accuracy was.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It wasn't necessarily the strength of the arm, it was how he got it out of his hands quickly, but also accurate. And you saw that throw against the Houston Astros. It was incredible. See, 5-time Gold Glover, but he had to work at his craft. Everyone always constantly goes to the hitting. It was the all-around game and stealing bases. Talked about Kilvio Veras and him putting on that hit and run. They had such a great chemistry in '98 that they would put a hit and run on. It wasn't a sign from the bench. It had everything to do with what Tony envisioned in that scenario. And he took everything in consideration and put it on himself. It was an offensive weapon that he took in his own hands, but it was so great to watch.
That being around that night, I know we've talked about '98, and we're going to talk about it a lot this week. Being around that team really showed me what it was to be a good teammate. You know, how they got along with one another within the realm of the clubhouse. It'd be hard to tell that those guys weren't like actual brothers.
Joey Lucchesi, a total of 68 pitches in his outing. There is action in the pen here as he works in the sixth inning.
I think for Andy Green and also pitching coach Darren Balsley, they have to monitor the amount of pitches, the stressful innings for Joey Lucchesi. And it's not necessarily always this individual start. It's what he did last time. It's what he has moving forward. How many off days are you going to give him an extra day? There's a lot of thought process that goes into what Joey Lucchesi is doing on the mound.
Ball 4, and he loses Trey Turner here. The first two have reached for the Nationals in the sixth inning. And here comes Andy Green. He's had Craig Stammen up in the pen. Stammen is ready, and that is the night for Lucchesi, who looks totally stunned here, looking back at Andy Green, that he is coming out of this game. So Lucchesi is coming out. The pitching change with nobody out in the sixth, tied at 1.
Diego is brought to you by Cadillac. Visit your San Diego Cadillac dealers today. By Petco, the pet company. And by Sequan Casino. Opening in 2019 is Sequan's brand new 300-room resort and hotel. I've seen some great videos, some great still shots. It has been a great tribute to the life of Tony Gwynn tonight. Today would have been his 58th birthday. And it is great to have Tony Gwynn Jr. alongside Mark Sweeney here as well. As pitching change here for the Padres with 2 on, nobody out, as Craig Stammen is in the game here to face Anthony Rendon.
High leverage situation for Craig Stammen, as you can see, coming in big moments. These situations, working his 16th game on the season. He's been outstanding. You see he gets the right-handers, 171 average. 19 strikeouts, only 3 free passes.
Jumps ahead 0-2. Lucchesi appeared to be stunned to be coming out of this game. 69 pitches deep into his outing. His 2 hitters in the 6th inning and lifted from this game. Had the look of a guy who was having his manager arrive to have a strategic conversation rather than being lifted from the game. But Stammen in, Lucchesi out, and responsible for the 2 men on. Rendon fouls it off down the right field line, out of play.
I know you certainly don't. You're certainly not upset. You want Lucchesi to be kind of upset that he's coming out of this game. I mean, he just handed the ball off. You feel a little weird about that.
Well, that result probably had something to do with the decision and what goes into the equation. Also, numbers that you see against Anthony Rendon against left-handed pitching. It's a feared bat throughout the league. I don't think a lot of people understand how good this player is.
To me, it's amazing. Every time I see him play, and again, we only see them, 2 series a year. Now, he gets 0. I mean, you think about this team. I mean, this guy is a tremendous player, defensively and offensively.
Yeah, he's had MVP votes. Obviously, came in 5th 3 years ago. So, gone through some injury issues, and I think that's probably why a lot of people don't fall in love with Anthony Rendon. If you watch him on an everyday basis, you understand he's an elite player around the game of baseball.
Bryce Harper, the guy right there, probably has a lot to do with it too when you think about the Washington Nationals. But there's a ground ball to shortstop to Galvis, who go to second for 1, on to first for 2. Double play and a big one. Taking third is Taylor. Stammen inducing the 6-4-3.
For Craig Stammen, just being able to command the ball outside, on the outside part of the plate. And this is tailor-made. When it goes to Freddie Galvis, what a nice turn in the middle of the diamond. Also Jose Perella, that's a big double play.
Anything hit towards Freddie Galvis, you can pretty much book it as an out.
So 2 down, runner at third, and Ryan Zimmerman coming up. Go ahead run 90 feet away.
Likes the ball up. It's a reason why they're trying to force that ball down in the strike zone. He handles it so well. Got a 2-strike hit his first at bat with the ball down, but that was a safety swing. Think about what Ryan Zimmerman can do. It's that right center gap that you have to control. Manny Margot shading that way.
Not getting the low strike call there was Craig Stammen on Ryan Zimmerman. With the outfield alignment, the center fielder Margot over towards right center. Stammen came in with runners at first and second and nobody out. Taylor at third with 2 down. Ball 3-3-0.
Kendrick waiting on deck. Taking strike one. And Zimmerman, for the most part, has struggled this year. A 205 average coming into tonight's game. He has not been healthy. Stiff back and side kept him out of 3 straight games. Came back in the lineup last night and back at first base again tonight.
See if Stammen goes to that low and away pitch. Maybe that little slider that he has.
And it's good for strike 2.
I think that surprised Zimmerman. That was a better pitch. You see the 3-1 pitch. Middle away. Now he has some options. Looks like that slider right here, down and away.
And it's ball 4. Zimmerman down to first base. First walk given up by Stammen, the second by Padres pitching in tonight's game. Well, earlier today, Mission Fed donated $3,000 and provided tickets for tonight's game to the Surfrider Foundation. Mission Fed donates around $1.5 million a year to local charities. We thank them for all that they do. Enjoying Padres baseball tonight from Petco Park in San Diego. Third and final game of this series against the Washington Nationals for the arrival of the St. Louis Cardinals. Howie Kendrick with runners at the corners gets his third plate appearance and takes strike 1. Kendrick has grounded back to the mound and singled to center in 2 at-bats tonight. Kendrick grounds it foul outside of third, and it's 0-2. Under third, the responsibility of Joey Lucchesi. Left this game after 5+ innings, 6 hits. The 1 run allowed, walked 1 and struck out 6. And had only thrown 69 pitches.
It's a big at bat right here for Stammen. Howie Kendrick's been swinging the bat well all series.
Trying to get him to chase, he does not.
When you think about that double play by Anthony Rendon, just sets up so many scenarios to be able to manipulate the rest of the lineup. Looked like it was almost a pitch around for Ryan Zimmerman to try to get into this situation. Perfect count to throw that out pitch, maybe even that slider away.
Kendrick fouls it away, fastball that time, and sends it foul off to the right.
What makes Craig Stammen dangerous is it's his command. He throws balls on purpose. He's able to go to that go-to where it's down and away, that glove side command.
And you can tell because when he misses, he's not missing by a lot. Those definitely are purpose pitches to set up something else.
Fly ball to right field. Matt Caesar over towards the line and under. Will make the catch, and Stammen out of the jam in the 6th inning. 5.5 done, tied at 1. Game was at Fenway Park in Boston, and of course the great Ted Williams was there, and so was Tony Gwynn, helping Ted throughout the ceremonial first pitch. Amazing moments from Fenway Park, and of course right in the middle of it was Tony Gwynn. And Tony Gwynn Jr., how important was his relationship with Ted Williams for your dad?
I would venture to say that it changed the last 7-8 years of his career because of some conversations he had with Ted Williams. You asked me who I was in awe of. My dad was in awe of Ted Williams. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the conversation with him and Bob Costas. And I don't know if you got a chance to ask John Boggs about it, but he'll tell you that when my dad was having that conversation, Ted was peppering him with questions. And my dad had that look on his face of a kid in class that doesn't want to answer the wrong question, answer the question wrong. And I had never seen my dad like that. To me, my dad was like the most stoic person on the planet. To see him like a little kid talking to Ted Williams, it was amazing. And then I think he answered a few of the questions kind of like lofting it out there, almost not sure if it's. And when Ted was like, I agree, it just lit him up, man. He really enjoyed his time. Ted Williams is a big reason why he started hitting for more power towards the end. He drove in more runs. Ted was on him about turning on that fastball in so that he can get back to get him to throw back the ball that he liked to hit, which was the ball away.
Yeah, 97 had 19 home runs.
Yeah.
According to the All-Star games, it would be safe to say that was his favorite All-Star game because of that moment?
No doubt. He got to be the lone guy out there holding Ted Williams, a guy who he had been chasing for so long. He didn't even play in that All-Star game either, mind you, but that was one of his favorite All-Star games for sure.
Now it is time for the Kia Drive to Success. And on that list, both Ted Williams and Tony Gwynn, highest career averages since 1939.
Now that whole list is royalty.
Yeah, it really is. And he had good relationships with all those guys on that list.
One out, one on, and Freddie Galvis standing in.
I'm sure you guys showed the video earlier of him in his locker talking to Stan Musial. I mean, those type of things. If you got to sit in on one of those conversations, it was, if you're a baseball fan, it was like being in heaven.
Now, Tony, there's so many people that I go around and they mention to me, even going through you at times, I'm sure you hear this a lot, and thanking you for allowing your dad to give everyone those moments, those special cherished moments that everyone around here just will never forget. So they do. They always say, please tell Junior thank you, because you were giving your dad and how much time he put into his craft, because it wasn't just about the results on the field. He put time into the community, and it was so important to so many lives around here.
Well, that was something my mom and dad both installed in my sister and myself, kind of understanding that at an early age, that it wasn't just about you, it was about your community and the people around you. We have a pretty big family, lots of uncles, lots of aunties, lots of cousins, and that's where my dad was most comfortable, when he was with his family. But I think he genuinely considered everybody in San Diego as part of his family.
Well, I asked John Boggs when he was on with us earlier, and I'll ask you, how important was it for your dad to be in one city and with this team his entire career?
It's funny that you asked that question, because I was the main guy trying to push him out of here. Like, I was begging him. I really was. Like, after that 98 season went by, I think it was after the 99 season when he became a free agent, and I was pushing, because I knew there wasn't a lot of time left in his career, and he wasn't going to have very many more opportunities to win a World Series or to compete for one. And I tried to push him to Cleveland so bad, and John Boggs could tell you, I was pushing. I actually thought I had him there. I really did.
He was close.
But ultimately, I think in the back of his mind, and as a 17-year-old kid, you don't understand why that's significant to be in one place, you know. And after and I really didn't understand it until I went to the Hall of Fame, and you get to go up on that stage, and there's no other option but to wear a San Diego Padre hat, because that's the only team you played for your entire career. At that point is when I realized how big of a deal it was, and how stupid I was for trying to get him to leave to go to Cleveland.
Now Jose Perel at second base now with 2 down. And A.J. Ellis has had a very good game. Single and a double, and has scored the Padres' only run. With a chance here to put the Padres on top now with 2 down in the bottom of the 6th inning. And a ground ball to short. Trey Turner's got it on the backhand and throws out A.J. Ellis. Gentlemen, thank you both on this very special night.
Thank you,
Tony.
Thanks, T.
Thank you.
And Joey Lucchesi going 5+ innings, giving up 6 hits, just the 1 run. He walked 1 and struck out 6. Looked pretty good tonight, Bud. And so on the other side is Gio Gonzalez. Gonzalez has thrown 110 pitches through 6 innings, struck out 8. As Anthony Rendon with a home run, the only blemish for Lucchesi in his outing. This home run with the Nationals on top 1-0. Padres would come back and tie it up on a double by Manuel Margot to left field that would score A.J. Ellis. And that's where we're at here, tied 1-1 to the 7th inning we go.
Don, we've got ourselves a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel. I mean, the pitch count for Gonzalez up there, and Craig Stammen did a nice job rolling that double play. And the one thing about Joey is that, you know, you look at his last 3 starts, he had as many as 4 walks, 3 walks, 2 walks, but only 1. And he was aggressive in the zone. It was fun to watch.
Well, Matt Wieters standing in here as they stack it up on the right side, goes over the shift, and a base hit into right, gets by Caesar and goes back to the track on the wall, so Wieters will take second base to begin things here in the 7th inning. Kind of a gamble there by Caesar. Tried to cut it off, but it gets by him. And to the track on the wall, it is a double for Matt Wieters.
I'm wondering if Matt kind of got caught in between on that one. Maybe at first he was going to go to his right and try to make the spectacular play. Let's take a look. He's got a beat on it. Yeah, you know what? It looked like he wanted to dive for it rather than kind of retreat and play back a little bit, playing on the big hop.
So runner at second, nobody out, and Moises Sierra 0 for 2 in the ball game, has struck out swinging and lined out to left field. Wieters with a leadoff double here in the 7th inning. Second time the lead man has been on. Rendon led off with a home run in the 4th inning.
You know, if there's anybody out there who can leave that runner stranded after giving up that double, it's Craig Stammen. I mean, he's got the good 2-seamer working the slider. He did a nice job when he came in the 6th with that double play.
And the runners at first and second, nobody out when he checked into this game. Got Rendon to ground into the DP, and Walk, and then Kendrick flat out to right.
How about breaking out his third best pitch, the curveball, and that's a doozy. He's known for the two-seamer, the slider, and that was the old number 2. Drops the deuce on him, 12-6.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Dropped off the table.
That was really good.
Strike 3 call. Picks up that outside corner. First strikeout for Craig Stammen's out number 1 of the 7th inning.
He is one of the better relievers that I see with that two-seam fastball. He starts it off the plate a little bit, and he brings it back. Baby, come back. Right on the outside corner.
Player,
That's a player
1-0
for you. Nice, Donnie.
1 out, runner at second, and brings up Wilmer Defoe.
Did you have fun talking with Tony Jr.?
I did.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I learned a lot of stuff I didn't know.
What a sweet kid, huh?
He's awesome.
I love him.
He'll drop in there for a strike. Wilmer Defoe getting the start at second.
You know, he's easy to make laugh like his dad, too. His dad was easy to make laugh. And just like Tony Sr., Tony Jr., you know, he can get that cackle going once in a while. It's infectious.
It amazes me how much they sound alike. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Fouled off to the left out of play, and it's 0-2.
A very defensive swing right there from Defoe. You know, the ideal situation here is to keep that ball in front of the runner, meaning a grounder maybe to Villanueva or Galvis to keep Wieters at second base.
Wieters with a double to begin the inning. Sierra struck out looking, and there's red hot Matt Adams on deck. He's been on fire and out of the starting lineup tonight for the first time in this series, but he's going to get in this game pinch hitting. Hitting just a piece, fouling it off is Defoe.
I tell you what, it looked like Defoe just picked that out of the glove of A.J. Ellis, didn't it?
Yep.
That ball is nearly in his glove. It looked like he made contact behind home plate on that one.
Choking up here with 2 strikes on him. And jumping out of the way of a pitch down and in by the shoe tops.
Yeah, that's the one where he wanted to try to bring that two-seamer back in like to the right. He kind of straightened him up a little bit, catch that inside corner.
The 25th pitch for Craig Stammen since coming into this game.
See if he sets him up and maybe tries to go away here. Craig's not afraid to try to bury it into the lefties.
Gets away from Ellis, and to third base goes Wieters. That one bouncing well before the plate and gets by Ellis. It's a wild pitch.
Yeah, nothing that AJ could have done. It was great technique as he's anticipating the breaking ball. Down to a knee, hands out in front. He took it off the chest protector. It just happens to carry him to his left.
So we'll go ahead run here 90 feet away again for the Nationals. They had Taylor there in the 6th inning. They have Wieters there in the 7th inning.
Ooh. Ooh.
Very close.
Yeah.
That wild pitch is the 3rd wild pitch thrown by a reliever this season for the Padres.
Hey, credit the catchers, right?
Rounded foul.
Yeah, you think over the course of month plus of the season to where there's runners on base and you're going to throw a breaking ball in the dirt. And of all the pitches that have been thrown, I would have to say 3's. That's not that bad.
Robbie Erlin up in the pen right now for the Padres. Lengthy at bat here for Wilmer Defoe. 8th pitch of the at bat coming up. Infield in. Go ahead run at third base for the Nats. Defoe strikes out Stammen with back-to-back Ks. 2 down.
That's big time pitching right there with that slider down and in. Boy, that looks like it's going to be a fastball. Then off the table, here it is coming at you. Try squaring that up.
Two down. Wieters at third base, and here is Matt Adams pinch hitting for the pitcher Gio Gonzalez, who tonight has thrown 110 pitches through 6 innings. I think at 308 this year, 10 homers, 24 runs batted in. The 2 home runs in the first game of the series, 2-run shot and a 3-run home run. Pitch 30 of relief coming up here for Stammen, and these have been taxing pitches. Came in with 2 on, nobody out in the 6th. Broken bat, soft liner that is caught at third by Villanueva on the backhand. Stammen pitches his way out of trouble in the 7th inning. 7th inning stretch, game tied 1-1. Broken bat liner that Villanueva picks. To the bottom of the 7th we go. Play. Manuel Margot driving in the Padres run. This double would score. A.J. Ellis and the Padres on the board, tying the score 1-1. And Manuel Margot 2 hits in the game. And speaking of multi-hit games, on his birthday, Tony Gwynn 951 times had 2 hits in a game. 297, 345, 4. 9 times at 5+, and 1 time 6 hits in a game.
That's incredible. When you break it down like that.
And we head here to the bottom of the 7th inning, game tied 1-1. And a new pitcher on, Trevor Gott.
Mid to upper 90s fastball. Doesn't really have a big frame, but he's got a live arm. Was acquired by the Nationals December 2015. His 13th game. And he came in the other day. It was game 1 of the series, and I remember right out of the get-go, he couldn't find the strike zone. A lot of pitches were up and into righties.
That's a base hit into left center field, and Margot has got his 3rd hit of the night. He'll round first and hold on with a leadoff single to begin things here in the 7th inning.
Well, good for Manny. Hopefully that batting average starting to creep up. As this two-seamer, it kind of leaks middle in, but he gets his hands through nicely. The foot is down, the hands are back, and he just rifles that ball in between the second base bag and Trey Turner. Go Margot.
So lead runner on here for the Padres. Chase Headley, the pinch hitter, in the pitcher's spot. Craig Stammen, his throw goes to first, and Margot back to the bag.
Very nice for Chase Headley to do some damage here on his birthday. When's your birthday, Donnie?
December the 16th. So never during the season.
I'm the same way, unless it's the postseason.
Where are you?
October 24th. Chase turning 34 today.
Runner goes. Headley will take a strike, and this gets into center field. So Margot picks himself up and heads to third. Now 90 feet away with nobody out. So a stolen base and an E2 charged to Matt Wieters, as that ends up in center field, and Margot ends up at third.
Well, you can almost smell that one coming. You've got a right hand around the mound now. Got it with the high leg kick. Takes a long time to deliver. There's the flash look. And quickly up, recognizing that ball into center field. So quick up to his feet. It was a strike to Chase Headley. 90 feet away.
Infield in all the way around now for Headley. And he'll take strike 2. Oh, 17 as a pinch hitter this year. 5 for 12 in that category. In the air to left field. Kendrick is under it. Will make the catch. Margot bluffs to draw the throw and retreats to the bag at third. 1 down. So Headley flies out to left field for the first out here of the 7th inning. Back up top of the order now for Matt Caesar. Caesar walked in the first inning, struck out in the second. Before flying out to center field in the 5th. Drives one to deep left field. Back goes Kendrick onto the track. Won't catch it, and one hops the wall. In from third comes Margot. Padres take the lead on an RBI double by Matt Caesar. It's 2-1 San Diego.
We mentioned it when the game started. Caesar leading off tonight, and that's a mistake. He crushes the mistake. Matt's got a nice, short, quick swing. Gets the head down, barrels it up. Thought this ball had a chance. Yeah, hard holding back the smiles. Getting some love from his teammates in the Padres dugout, who are housed on the first base side.
Eric Hosmer intentionally walked here, of the no throw kind. He's down at first base, first and second, 1 out, a run in. And they'll take their chances with Christian Villanueva. And now Wieters going to head out and talk to Trevor Gott here.
Well, we know that Christian Villanueva likes the fastball. Gott's got a really good two-seam fastball. He also has a nice sharp breaking ball as well.
So Lee's up in the pen right now. Gott starts the inning here for the Nats.
If I were to guess, I would think a first pitch breaking ball possibly here down to Villanueva with that runner in scoring position.
Ground ball right side to Defoe. Flips to second for one. On to first after a double pump. 4-2. Able to turn it and end the inning. But the Padres get the go-ahead run. Headed to the 8th on top 2-1.
Kimbrel and a big home run and give the Yankees a win.
Mike, you think about Aaron Judge. He has been the difference maker hitting out of the 2-hole. That was his 3rd hit on the night, a 3-for-4 night. Gets him at 308 average. He has been outstanding this year.
Outstanding, the Yankees in general. They've won 17 of their last 18 games. Boston, New York, the 2 best teams in all of baseball right now. Mark and I are working on Padres Live, the post-game show, which will be brought to you tonight by Cox Communications. When we see you after the final night, you're going to hear from Andy Green. We'll talk about Joey Lucchese's night, and we'll get you set for the upcoming Cardinals series bobblehead weekend as we remember Mark Sweeney in the 1998 Padres World Series appearance. Going to be special. Hope you'll join us after the final out.
All right. Mike and Mark, thanks very much. We look forward to that as we play along here to the 8th inning. The Padres now have a lead and a new pitcher into the game as Kirby Yates takes over for Craig Stammen.
Craig Stammen did his job nicely, and adding on for the Padres in that 7th inning to take the lead is huge. Now for Kirby Yates, his 13th game, very, very good numbers for the right-hander. 12 strikeouts in 10 1/3 innings pitched, and a minuscule ERA, .87, and great splits as well. He pounds the zone with all of his pitches.
Michael Taylor leading it off here for the Nationals and taking strike 1. Taylor 1 for 3, an infield hit to third base in the 6th inning. Top of the Nationals order, leading it off here in the 8th. Craig Stammen, 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, a walk, and 2 Ks. And he was in some tough situations. Came in with 2 on, nobody out in the 6th. Got out of that. Gave up a leadoff double to Matt Wieters in the 7th. Ended up leaving him at third base. Got out of that as well. In the air to right center field. In comes Matt Caesar, the right fielder, for the first out of the 8th inning.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
1 down in the 8th, and it brings up Trey Turner. Turner has grounded out twice and walked. Joey Lucchese, 5+ innings, 6 hits, 1 run. Walked a batter, struck out 6. Not be part of the decision in tonight's game. Craig Stammen, the pitcher of record right now for San Diego, on top 2-1. With 5 outs to get. And you got to go through the heart of the order. Anthony Rendon waiting on deck as Trey Turner bats right now and has jumped ahead here 2-0. Turner turns on this and fouls it down the left field line.
You talk about getting in a guy's kitchen. He's going to need a new shillelagh on that one. Four-seamer in. Let's see where just right at the label. Wow, he likes to turn on that inside pitch, doesn't he?
He's trying to go in there, and he's been effective 2-2.
Hey, that last pitch, that was a good 3 or 4 baseballs in off the plate, and Turner is still offering at it. Now remember, Kirby's got that splitter, and he's got that breaking ball. He can go down and away right here.
Last pitch was at 94 miles an hour, running in. And a swing and a miss, comes back to strikeout Trey Turner. It was the splitter that got him. First strikeout for Yates, 2 down.
This last pitch had the action of a Don Orsillo gyro ball. Watch how it just spins and then off the table. Misses by about 2 baseballs. The old trap door.
So 2 down here in the 8th inning, and it brings up Anthony Rendon. Rendon has singled, homered, and grounded into a key double play in the 6th inning. Home run for him, his 2nd of the year. Field deep end straight away as Rendon will take strike 1.
You know what else I'm impressed about tonight, Don, as we take a look at the defense? For Joey Lucchesi, this is a ball club he's pitching against that can turn it around instantly. I mean, they're in the top offensive categories as a club, right? Runs their 3rd, hits their 4th, home runs their 1st, RBIs their 3rd. So you see where I'm going here. I think it's a good test for Joey Lucchesi pitching against the lineup, and now he's got the confidence to where, hey, I can pitch against these offensive teams.
Pretty good measuring stick when you take on a team that has the kind of offense that the Nationals feature on a nightly basis. And the pen has been up to the task again tonight so far. 1-2. And Rendon swings and misses and strikes out. A nice inning for Kirby Yates. Fly out, 2 strikeouts to the bottom of the 8th. 2-1 Padres.
for heroes, because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
It's on to the last of the 8th inning with the Padres on top 2-1, looking to obtain some insurance here in the last of the 8th, and sending Perella, Cordero, and Galvis to the plate. Face the new pitcher, Sammy Solis, into the game now for the Washington Nationals.
Well, as a tall, hard-throwing lefty, enters this season looking to build off a strong second half of last year. Also a solid 2016. USD pitcher, Torero, Sammy Solis. I'm sure somewhere here in San Diego County right now, head coach Rich Hill is smiling as Sammy enters his 20th game. A lot of strikeouts from the left side.
Jose Perella has walked, struck out, and singled, and sends this one foul to the screen.
Time to add on, right, Donnie?
Nice to have some breathing room.
Like to get ahead of the bloop and blast range. We score 2 or 3 runs. Good breaking ball from Solis.
Richie Cordero waiting on deck. Padres batting here in the 8th, and that'll miss for ball 1. 1-2.
He's a strikeout pitcher. He ranks 12th among NL relievers. 13.5 strikeouts per 9 innings for Sammy Solis.
So Trevor Gott went an inning pitching the 7th, and he is currently on the hook. Gave up 2 hits, a run, and was unearned. Walked 1, it was intentional, and did not strike anybody out. Just missing low, and that was a close pitch. Full count. Ball 4 and a leadoff walk for Perella. He got down 0-2, but works a walk here in the 8th inning to begin things. Here comes Franchi Cordero. 0-for-3 in the ball game. Franchi has grounded back to the mound and struck out twice, both times swinging. On the ground towards second base, not hit that hard. Defoe to second for 1, on to first. It is airmailed up over the first baseman. And did he make the turn? No, he did not. So aboard at first base, and he kind of flinched towards second base, and he would have been out there.
Don, I thought he did it first because the way he reacted, he wanted to get back to the bag quickly after he made that turn.
Not sure what happened there to Trey Turner on the throw.
Wow, that wasn't even close.
No.
Let's check out Franchi. Does he commit?
Ooh. Well, that is that's
close.
enough right there, isn't it? Wow. So 1 out, 1 on, and Freddie Galvis, the batter, 0-for-3 in the game tonight. He has struck out, flied out, and it'll number in front of the plate.
You know, as a base runner, I think you err on the side of caution. If you're going to turn to your right, because that one little move to your left, I think that's a subjective thing too from an umpire, right?
I'm kind of surprised. I think Roberto Ortiz, the first base umpire, missed it.
Yeah.
Throw over, and Cordero back to the bag.
If you run through the bag and you know it's going to be an errant throw, you'd be better off turning to your right quickly to find out where the ball is. That way you can't get trapped. Any little bit of a commitment, you're hot.
He did a little stutter step there to his left. Galvis sprays it foul down the right field line. Count evens at 1-1. Either starter part of the decision tonight. Trevor Gott on the hook right now, the first reliever out of the pen for the Nats. Greg Stammen, pitcher of record right now for the Padres, looking to add on to a 1-run advantage. Galvis grounds it up the middle into center field, a base hit. As taking second base is Franchi Cordero. First hit of the night for Freddie Galvis.
That's using the big part of the diamond right there, a two-seam fastball, and Freddie fighting that off. That ball was in, it was off the label. Off the mound. No chance for Turner or Defoe.
So 1 out runners at first and second brings up A.J. Ellis. A 2-hit night for Ellis. He has singled to center and doubled to left. And he takes strike one. The Nationals have been hot. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. Scored 55 runs in that time, while their starting rotation 7-1 with a 1.96 earned run average. So the Padres trying to win this game tonight. I'd love to get a few more runs in here in the bottom of the 8th. 0-2.
You know, that's the starters going deep with the lead and the bullpen coming in to nail it down, preserving those wins for those starters.
Manny Margot's had a big night, 3-hit night, waiting on deck. Runners go, a bobble by Wieters and a double steal. Wieters could not make the clean transfer from his glove to the bare hand. It slips out of his hand, and Cordero steals third. Galvis steals second base.
Being aggressive on the base pass and trying to add on late. It's a high fastball, and let's see the bobble. There it is. Can't find the handle. A free 90 feet for both runners.
Second and third, 1 down. Infield in all the way around. Ellis pops it up. Foul ground first base way. Zimmerman will make the catch for out number 2. That's a huge out for Solis. Let's revisit our keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Joey mirrors Clayton. Remember the great outing for Clayton Richard last night? 8 solid innings, 3 earned runs. Well, Joey Lucchesi, 5 innings, 6 hits, only 1 earned run. That's a good outing. 6 strikeouts. Crooked numbers early. 1 run in the 4th, but another run in the 7th, and that's where we stand. Padres ahead 2-1.
Dave Martinez going to make the pitching change. Has had Sean Kelly up in the pen. Padres have a 2-1 lead. Pitching change from Petco Park. Man, Manny Margot, who's been struggling at the plate, has had a great night tonight. The infield hit in the second inning. Then a double to drive in the Padres' first run. A.J. Ellis would come around to score on that double by Margot. And then a single to center field in the seventh inning. And Margot would come around to score. The Padres go-ahead run on top 2-1. And he's coming up here with runners at second and third and 2 down in the eighth. Face the former Padre, Sean Kelly, who's in the game.
Well, a chance for San Diego to add on here. And Sean Kelly, he's bounced back nicely. He's got that good two-seam fastball. His 9th game, high ERA of 4.5. Small sample size though, but 9 strikeouts and no walks. So he pounds the zone with the best of them.
Padres 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position in this game. Margot looking for his 4th hit of the night, and the Padres looking for some breathing room.
And Sean Kelly will throw the slider anytime. We just saw it right there, the first pitch to Manuel.
On the corner, and it's a ball and a strike. Carlos Asuaje has come out on deck here to bat in the pitcher spot, which would be for Kirby Yates. On the ground, softly hit. Over is the pitcher, Kelly, for the out. That ends the inning. Padres strand 2. We'll see how big a deal that'll be. Hey, it's Brad Hand time. He'll be coming in. Ready for the top half of the 9th inning. The Padres closer is now in the game on this night in which we are honoring Tony Gwynn. Of course, today would have been his 58th birthday, and the Padres' great closer and Hall of Famer Trevor Hoffman had tweeted this earlier today. As good of a baseball player Tony was, his greatest contribution was as a father and a husband. Miss you. Great tweet from Trevor Hoffman. It is on to the 9th inning, and Ryan Zimmerman to lead it off against the new pitcher and closer Brad Hand.
Brad has held opponents scoreless in 11 of his last 12 appearances. It's crunch time for Brad Hand. Been in this situation many, many times. Cool hand, Brad. 27 strikeouts in 16 2/3 and only 7 walks.
Fouls it off, evens the count here at 1-1. Here's what they've done. Zimmerman 7 for 12 in his career against Brad Hand. Kendrick 1 for 5. Wieters 0 for 1. Zimmerman to left field. Deep was Cordero coming in, and that's going to fall. A leadoff base hit for Ryan Zimmerman. Cordero very much backed up in left field. It ends up falling in left field to begin the inning.
You know, as soon as I saw this big swing and I heard crack of the bat, that's a snappage down by the label. I thought, ball's got a chance to dump in there. And then the race is on.
Look to be playing that no doubles defense out there in left field. Deeply as Cordero is situated out there. Zimmerman going to be run for here at first base. Stevenson, who came into the game last night. So Andrew Stevenson now at first base. There's ball 1 to Kendrick. Kendrick tonight has grounded out, single to center, and flied out to right field. To right center field on the move is Caesar. He will get there. Fired toward first base, and back safely at first is Stevenson. 1 down.
Streaks were made to be broken. Make history and win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS.
One on, one out, and Matt Wieters coming up. Wieters has struck out twice and doubled in the game tonight. But that double last time up was left at third base after he led off the 7th inning with that double. And with a check at first base, Stevenson back to the bag. Held on by Eric Hosmer. Drops in there for a strike. 0-1. Padres and Nationals will meet in 2 weeks, May the 21st through the 23rd at Nationals Park, for the next road trip for the Padres. A 1 to Wieters. You'll have to wait. Another check on Stevenson, whose lead has not been that big. Back over there again.
Yeah, it looks like he's on a short leash over there, huh?
Very short.
A little bit.
The Padres have left 9 men on base in this game. Nationals have left 5 on in what has been a tight-knit affair here tonight. 2-1. Padres have the lead, trying to hold on here. Field very deep again and pretty close to being straight away. Looks like the slider is on its way here. 0-1 pitch.
Get it down and in. Ooh, wasn't that bad of a pitch.
Low strike has not been called tonight for the most part.
Where that ball crosses front of home plate. Right at the knees.
Now Outside for ball 2, 2-1. Casey for 5 innings, Stammen for 2, Yates for 1. Casey gave up just the 1 run. Brad Hand trying to finish it off here in the 9th inning. Gave up a leadoff single to Zimmerman, who's being run for by Andrew Stevenson. Got Kendrick to fly out. Now a 2-1 to Wieters. That's a strike. 2-2.
Well, the punch out will be nice. The ground ball to try to get Wieters to ground into 2 would be even better. He does not have that good a speed, and hey, he gets a call on that one. Brad Hand does. 94 off the plate.
Wieters was not happy with that call.
No. Slider heads up left side of the infield here.
Wieters fouls it off right down by the shoe tops, and will do it again. 2-2. And takes a little stroll around the mound to the backside. In the midst of a meeting with himself. Now the 2-2 pitch to Matt Wieters. Down and in, and a full count.
That's a tough pitch to lay off. That breaking ball down and just off the plate a little bit. Well, with the count full, let's peek in and see what A.J. Ellis puts down. Slider. He's very confident with that pitch.
Drops in for strike 3. Wieters knew it, takes with him the first strikeout for Brad Hand. 2 down in the 9th inning.
Brad Hand has that ability to throw that slider for a strike when he wants to. That's almost like a first pitch slider, get me over. And Wieters definitely frozen pizza on that one, right down the middle. He was looking for the old number 1, it looks like. That's confidence in the slider.
2 down, Stevenson at first base, and here is Sierra. 0 for 3 in the game. He has struck out twice on the night. Throw to first, and back to the bag is Stevenson. Strike 1. Strike 2. And jumping ahead here, 0-2 with 2 down in the 9th inning. Friar faithful coming to their feet at Petco Park, and standing is one. The 0-2 pitch from Brad Hand will have to wait as he fires to first base, and Stevenson back safely. The 0-2 pitch. He struck him out, and the Padres win. Padres able to hold on and win as Sierra thought he foul tipped it, but
to no avail as Mike Navarro shakes his head and the Padres win the finale of the 3-game series. Back-to-back Ks for Brad Hand as San Diego holds on to win 2-1. It's time for Padres Live. Mike Pomerantz, what's in store?
Well, you hear from Andy Green. He'll talk about his decision to remove Joey Lucchesi and the job that this bullpen did. Plus, Manny Margot, 3 hits. We'll see what may be turning him around, and we'll get you set up for the 4-game series against the Cardinals.